So what we're going to do is film a series of exercises to help mobilize the collarbone better and reposition the shoulder so that it's further retracted and depressed, which will allow our collarbone to sit maybe more neutral to our shoulder, kind of more level. That seems like something that could be useful for a lot of people, and it requires a few different muscle groups to be working in consortium with each other. Some of those muscles are on the front, some of those muscles on the side, some of those muscles in the back of the shoulder. So we're going to go through a couple different exercises. It'd be really useful to have a long foam roller. So I have a short foam roller. It'd be really nice to have a foam roller that's as long as this bolster for the exercises we're going to do. But I don't have that, so I'm going to have to comprise the exercises with these two objects. Ideally, though, I'd have one maybe foam roller that's the length of the bolster. So I'm going to get on the ground to do the first exercise, which is for the sternocleidomastoid, which is a muscle that sits kind of right here on your neck. So you're lying down on the ground, your head is turned, in this case we're working on the right side, I think, for you, Tiff. But in this case, I'm going to show you my left side because it's closer to the camera. So you want to remember all this stuff is going to happen on your right side. So I'm going to turn my head, all right, and that's going to line my sternocleidomastoid, the one that I'm working here, towards the ceiling. What I want to do is kind of work it against gravity. So I have my head turned, I will go ahead and lift my head up, which is going to engage this muscle. You kind of maybe see that pop up. I'm going to hold tension there against gravity for maybe 10 seconds. It's a pretty strong muscle. I don't want to be there for too long and make it too tight. After 10 seconds, I'll just relax. So again, I've turned my head to allow the sternocleidomastoid on my left side to be engaged. You want to remember that you're going to turn your head to the left to engage the right sternocleidomastoid. Okay, so again, you turn, you pick your head up, you hold tension there, feel tension in that area for a few seconds. 10 seconds would be ideal. I've only brought my head up a little bit, and then after a little bit of time, 10 seconds, I'll relax and do that 6 times to 8 times, preferably. After I've done that exercise, I want to focus on a muscle that can help also rotate the scapula, okay, backwards or forwards. And I'm going to focus on going backwards with it. So in my case, I'm going to get a foam roller, and I'm going to have it up here, and I'm going to bring my arm down to meet the foam roller, and I'm going to make sure that my shoulder is elevated, kind of like hiked up or shrugged up. Okay, so shrug it up, and now I'm pushing down. Okay, so now that I've shrugged it up, I'm pushing backwards. And I'm pushing backwards, and I should feel tension develop here in my armpit area because I've stretched this muscle. And I should also feel tension develop between my shoulder and my neck, and that's kind of the muscle area that we're targeting. So I'm going to push down first for 6 reps of 10, and then I'm just going to stay here in this kind of shrugged overhead position, and I'm going to try and block my arm a little bit and push in towards my head. Okay, so remember, you're doing all this on your right side. I'm just showing you the left side because it's more convenient for the camera. So you'll push in like that, and you'll feel tension again develop kind of in this in this shoulder to neck area. So first one, you elevate and you push backwards for 10 seconds, 6 times. Next one, you're going to keep that elevated arm behind, arm pressing, arm overhead position, and then you're going to push maybe in with the arm in towards your head. And again, you'll feel that kind of area in here engage. So that's going to help us mobilize muscles around the collarbone that help it move better. The sternocleidomastoid plus this muscle we're targeting is the subclavius. Those 2 muscles will help it mobilize better. And then we want to work on the position of the shoulder so that your your shoulder sits further retracted, kind of more level with your rib cage. So to do that, you want to bring your arm out to the side and push backwards into the ground. But I think what we want to do for you is we actually want your torso to be forward of your arm. So again, this is where a long foam roller comes in handy. I'm going to use this bolster since we don't have a long foam roller here. But I'm going to go ahead and take my long foam roller or this bolster and put it down. And I'm going to try and sit my butt down on the edge of it and then lie my back onto it so that my head is also on it, just like this. Once I'm here, now my torso is a bit elevated off the floor, which is great because now I can reach my arm backwards a little bit behind my torso. And I can push down to the ground with that arm. And by pushing down to the ground, I'm kind of engaging my middle trapezius muscle. And it's a muscle that pulls my shoulder backwards and sets it a little bit more evenly with my rib cage. So I'm pushing backwards for 10 seconds, I'll relax, and I'll push backwards again to the ground for 10 seconds and relax. And I'll do that 6 times for 10 seconds with moderate force. This exercise, again, is for the middle trap.
Once I've done that exercise, the next one I want to focus on that's going to help pull my shoulder back and maybe depress my shoulder a little bit so it can help level my collarbone off is going to be for my lat.
So what I want to do is bring my legs a little bit wider than they just were. It's going to help keep my hip bones kind of static.
And then I want to create like a little side bend, okay? So I still want to try and find that edge of that bolster, in my case, or the foam roller, in your case, so that my head can be relaxed. But I do want to create a little lateral curve in my body towards the right, in your case. Then I'm going to bring my arm and get on the ground, palm face down. I'm going to turn my arm just a little bit so my thumb is touching the ground. So I've rotated my arm just a little bit internally, so my thumb's on the ground. Then I want to slide that arm in towards the bolster, in my case, or maybe foam roller in your case. And I want to, my butt's blocking, which is fine. And I want to try and push the arm in, okay? So I'm trying to push my arm in towards my butt and in towards where the foam roller would be. And my arm's going to stay locked down, keep my elbow locked out, and I'm pushing in. And that's going to give me a little tension around my armpit. That's where the muscle connects, and that's where the muscles contract, and they kind of help me lower my shoulder down and engage the lat a bit more. And the latissimus dorsi is what we're focused on with this one. So I'm pushing in towards my side with my arm in this rotated position and the elbow straight for 10 seconds, 6 times. After I've done that one, all I'm going to do is I'm going to get back in the same position,
but I'm going to push down. So the first version of that I was pushing in towards my butt. The next version I'm going to be pushing down and in towards the bolster, towards the floor. Okay? So internally rotate the arm again,
bring it in, and now I'm pushing the thumb down and into the floor at an angle towards the bolster. And I'm doing that for 10 seconds, 6 times. And again, I'm going to feel the armpit area because that's where the muscle connects into the shoulder. And I'm doing that, again, still with this slight little side bend that I've created, a little bit of a side bend to the left, in my case, right in your case. And I'm doing that for
6 reps in 10 seconds. After I've done that, I will have worked on mobilizing the collarbone better to rotate backwards. I will have also worked on pulling the shoulder blade and the collarbone thusly backwards towards a more restful place on the rib cage. So I should notice just a freedom of motion in and around the collarbone. If it's still tight, then I would think that we probably set the position better, but maybe there's something in the neck that we need to work on in the future. All right, so